Hello my loyal companions and welcome back to another video on the channel. In one of my recent videos I explained my experience in esports and trying out for an esports team and how it really opened up my eyes to the different picks that are viable in competitive play compared to casual play. And in this video I wanted to go over the different rogues in Rogue Company and tell you whether they're probably more viable for competitive or casual play. But I'd be really interested to know what you think and what your favourite rogues are, so leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps out and lets me continue to produce more content for you. But now let's get into the video. I want to preface this by saying that every rogue has strengths and weaknesses and are all good in their own elements. Just because I say that one is better for competitive play doesn't mean that they're completely unviable. This is not a tier ranking system of how good the rogues are. It's more just a way of showing you who is better in competitive compared to casual play. I will be doing a complete tier list from S to D of what I think the rogues are in this game, and that should be coming out later this week for you to see once I've done all the guides for every rogue. But as I jump into this, I'll also give you an explanation of why I've put rogues in certain places, so if you pick them up, you understand why they work in certain situations. For a bit of background though, the reason I put a rogue in the more competitive scene is if they have high utility and high team play coordination about them. If I put them in casual, it's because they're better for those solo fragging out roles that you'll see in public matches. And that leads me on to our first pick, which is Anvil. Now Anvil, unfortunately, I'm going to put in no real place here. He doesn't have a great competitive scene nor a great casual scene just because of the nature of his kit. He is basically for competitive, for utility, a worse version of Trench. And for casual, he doesn't really have that ability to frag out. Now don't get me wrong, he's fun. I do enjoy playing him, and if I was going to play him anywhere, I'd play him casual. But I don't see a massive place for him yet in the game. I think he could probably use a few tweaks just so that he's better for one of these different roles. A fun pick, but at the moment not really a competitive pick or a casual pick. He just needs some kind of buff to make him a bit more relevant within the game. Then we move on to Shaq, who is my individual favourite rogue, and I'm going to put him in casual. Due to his lack of utility, he is completely solo orientated, and that means he's not great for the team. Yes, he could be a flanker, but there are better options for that currently. In the competitive teamwork scene, Shaq is fantastic at being alone, fragging out, getting it like 2 or 3 kills in a match and winning the game for your team that way. But when it comes to coordinated play, the enemies are going to be on you a lot more. They're going to understand your self-res, understand your healing, bait you out, and then kill you 2-on-1. Dallas is then definitely going to be a competitive pick. He is high value for competitive play. His reveal, first of all, fantastic, giving your competitive team information. His gun's very good at holding down long range, and the fact he can use his ability multiple times when he gets knocks makes him very useful to the team. That brings us on to Dima, who is also going to be a highly competitive pick and actually my most played rogue within roguebowl. The reason for this is due to his hard breaching and utility. Again, as I said, utility is what makes competitive pick competitive. He also is actually really good in casual play. As I said, all of these rogues can be played anywhere, but Dima is a very competitive pick as well. Just because he can breach so hard onto sight with his grenade launcher, he has great utility and just great overall ability to work with the team and coordinate angles and pushes, etc. His gun, also the Mamba, the 3-round burst, is a fantastic sort of DMR AR combination, and it works really well if you can hit your shots. That takes us then on to Glitch, who I'm also going to put as a competitive pick. Again, fantastic in casual, but he works so well in competitive because of his ability and how useful it is in the competitive scene. It destroys basically any equipment from the enemy team and means when you are breaching a site, having a Glitch with you can be really strong, but only really works in competitive organized play when you know the enemy are using things like a Trench, like an Anvil or something like that, like a Ronin, and you want to sort of blow up a ballistic knife. That's where Glitch comes in useful in organized team play more than anything else. If you just want to run around with his amazing SMG, he's great for casual, but in terms of maximizing his abilities, he's better for a competitive team where everything's organized. This then moves us on to Lancer, and she's kind of a hard one for me. We did use her in roguebowl, but I would actually put her in the casual section just because of her lack of utility. She is closer to competitive than Shaq is, but they basically do the same thing. Lancer is great at getting flanking positions. She does have some utility with her smoke grenade, but it's not amazing. And in competitive play, again, if the enemy team is organized and they spot you out, or they're able to bait out your push and your flank, then they're going to get you, and then you're kind of a 3v4 sort of situation going down, which means it's not highly useful, and kind of why I'm going to lean her down into the casual play for this. It's just kind of not worth the risk always in competitive. You know, when you see a Lancer, what's she going to do? She's going to run around and try and flank you. It's kind of obvious. So that's why she's going to be in the casual section for me. This then leads me on to another controversial one. This is Saint, who I'm also going to put in casual. The reason for this is because a coordinated team will be able to disrupt what Saint wants to do very easily. They're going to thirst their downs the moment they know a Saint's on the enemy team, and that kind of makes him useless. He's also a massively high target when he is put in competitive, because they know how valuable that revive drone can be, and it's just kind of a bit too easy to outplay for organized teams, and that's why I'm going to put him in the casual. Again, we ran him in roguebowl, but the reason we did is because we know we're just going into pubs. If we were going into like custom games, perhaps we wouldn't have run Lancer and Saint, just because they can be a bit predictable and a bit easy to outplay by these teams who know what they're doing. Taking me on to potentially my favourite rogue, Phantom. She is also going to be a casual pick. It's great to get those 360 no-scopes, great to get some good highlight clips of Phantom, but not really a great competitive pick, because when you see a Phantom, all you got to do is rush her, rush the enemy team. As long as you don't get sniped on the way for these long angles and you play the close corners, you're going to get done by her. And that's kind of the problem with Phantom for me. Really good though, her reveal can be really good, and I think maybe certain maps she could work. Windward was the one map where I was willing to play Phantom in the competitive games we were playing, and that was probably the only one because of the long lines of sight, being able to hold down mid and see their rotations early. But generally she's more of this kind of casual pick than the competitive pick. Ronin then moves on to the pure competitive, and the reason for this is just because her utility is amazing. Her weapons are amazing and makes her really, really versatile, as I said in my guide of her. Her ballistic knife is great for holding off a flank route, and can be kind of hard to predict by enemy teams just because of how small it is and how difficult it can be to see. And that's what makes her really useful. She's got great utility, she's got great survivability, and this also means she can be that flanker, whereas Shaq and Lancer are very obvious flankers. Ronin doesn't have to flank, but she can if you want her to, and that means because she is so adaptable and she is such a flex pick in that regard, then she could be really useful for a team that way. Scorch is going to move on to our pure casual. She's fun to play, great to start burning people up, but not really that useful in a competitive scene. There's much better picks that can do the same role for her. Yes, her fire resistance with her Molotovs can be really cool, and really good to like throw down and push a position that way because they don't expect someone to come through the fire. But it's not the most useful, and there are things that can just be done better with Scorch. Talon is another person that we put in every single roguebowl match, and the reason for this is because he's amazing. His dart can reveal everybody in the game except Ronin with no counter. Ronin is the only person who will be off that dart. His guns are really good, he's got a flashbang, and he's just really, really useful. He can pick up the bomb on attack from distance because of his passive ability, and he's just really, really good generally. He provides a lot of utility for the team. As I said, competitive is all about utility and teamwork, and that's where Talon can shine. That brings us on to the last two, Trench and Vi, and Trench is going to be another competitive pick. The reason for this is because he has such good zone control, and honestly I'm going to put Vi up there as well at the same time, just because they basically fulfill the same role. They are both fantastic at controlling zones. Vi is probably slightly better because you have your 2 poison abilities, and you can get incendiary as well, whereas Trench is very good at slowing down a very heavy breach team, particularly against a Dima with his trophy system. He's great at stopping that because he can block the projectile from his grenade launcher. They are both very good and fulfill basically the same role. Where I would say they differ is Trench is a very good rogue at helping from long range because of his 2 guns, and Vi is better for the shorter range maps. Both do a very, very good job at what they do though. Very good at zone control, very good utility, and generally are a must in any comp on a defense side. Most of these other competitive picks, in fact all these other competitive picks, can flex between attack and defense. These two I would say are better on defense only, more so than anything. Okay then guys, hopefully that gave you a bit of an overview about the difference between the competitive picks and the casual picks within Rogue Company. As I said, I think every rogue is viable, with maybe a slight exception of Anvil, who needs a bit of a tweak in some way just for me to make him useful in either one. I don't really see a point in playing him in casual, and there's other picks that do better. In competitive, he's just not quite there. Doesn't quite hit the mark that Trench and Vi do, that do the same role. But Rogue has been a fantastic game the past few weeks. I've been absolutely loving it, and the fact that every rogue has something unique about them to explore and play with is really fun. As I said, I've been putting out a bunch of guides on the different rogues if you want to go see them, and there'll be just a few more to come before I do a full tier list of the best to worst rogues. If you do want to see that, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and you can also follow me on twitch.tv/RadStarGaming to see live streams and game commentaries. You can also come there to ask questions about any of these different things that we've talked about in the videos. Other than that, guys, let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video.